It was one of those quiet evenings in a small town, where everything felt peaceful, and everyone knew your name. The kind of evening when the air smelled like fresh rain, and the only sound was the occasional rustling of leaves outside. Inside a modest home, an 11-year-old boy named Ryan sat hunched over his desk in his small room. His desk lamp cast a warm glow on a clutter of crumpled papers scattered across the floor, each paper showing signs of failed attempts. He wasn't giving up, though. This was his fourth attempt at something that many kids his age would never even consider: a handwritten letter to Elon Musk, the man behind rockets, electric cars, and the kind of technology that Ryan only dreamed about. Ryan wasn't your average kid. His obsession with space, rockets, and everything related to the universe set him apart from his peers. His room was a mini museum, with posters of galaxies on the walls, models of planets scattered across his shelves, and books filled with stories of astronauts and pioneers. Ryan had always been different, more interested in the stars than in video games or TV shows. But tonight, his mind was completely fixed on one thing: this letter. "Dear Mr. Musk," he wrote, his handwriting a little shaky but full of hope. "I think you are the coolest person in the world. I want to build rockets like you someday. But I need your advice. What should I do first?" The words felt important, almost too important for his small desk and simple room. But there was something about putting his thoughts into this letter that made everything feel possible. Every word he wrote felt like a step closer to his dream. What Ryan didn't know was that this small yet brave step, sending a letter to the most innovative mind of his time, wasn't just going to get him a response. It was going to spark a chain of events, a series of unexpected twists, that would change everything for him. His letter was about to lead to something bigger than he could ever imagine. It wasn't just going to affect his life, it was going to touch millions. A simple act of reaching out would soon take him places he never thought possible. Ryan lived in a modest home on the outskirts of town with his parents and younger sister. The house, with its peeling paint and creaky wooden floors, told the story of their everyday struggles. His father worked long shifts as a mechanic, often getting home late, and his mother balanced part-time jobs to help pay the bills. Even with these challenges, their home was full of warmth. Despite the tough times, the family's bond remained unbreakable. From an early age, Ryan was different. While other kids were playing sports or racing bikes, he had his eyes on the stars. As a toddler, he would lie in the grass, pointing at the night sky and naming constellations his parents couldn't even identify. By the time he was 7, Ryan's curiosity had him tearing apart old toys, his sister's dolls included, just to see what was inside. For her, it was frustrating, but for Ryan, it wasn't about destroying things. It was about understanding how they worked. His fascination with rockets began when he watched a space documentary on their old second-hand TV. Ryan was mesmerized. He saw astronauts floating effortlessly in space and watched rockets soar through the atmosphere. In that moment, he made a promise to himself: "I'm going to build rockets when I grow up." His parents, though they didn't have much, never tried to stop him. They always encouraged his passion, even if they couldn't afford to help him pursue it. But Ryan's journey wasn't easy. His school didn't have a science club, and the resources he needed were scarce. He'd make do by visiting the local library, checking out every book on physics and engineering he could find, often reaching the borrowing limit. At home, he used cardboard, glue, and whatever he could find to make his own rocket models. They weren't perfect, but they were a reflection of his persistence. Life wasn't all smooth sailing. The family's financial struggles often meant sacrifices. While other kids had brand new clothes and the latest gadgets, Ryan wore hand-me-downs and patched-up sneakers. Sometimes, it stung when his classmates made fun of his old backpack or teased him for his weird rocket obsession. But Ryan held his head high. He knew his dreams were bigger than his circumstances. Even with all the challenges, Ryan's kindness stood out. He was always willing to lend a hand. When his little sister wanted to learn about the stars, he would turn their living room into a planetarium, using glow-in-the-dark stickers to make constellations on the ceiling. Ryan didn't just believe in chasing his own dreams. He believed in helping others do the same. The idea to write to Elon Musk came one evening when Ryan overheard his parents worrying about money. He realized that his family couldn't afford fancy science kits or trips to space camps. But Ryan knew that everyone, no matter their background, deserved a chance to dream big. Maybe Mr. Musk can help me, he thought, knowing that even the most successful people had started from humble beginnings. That night, sitting at his small desk with the soft hum of the old fridge in the background, Ryan began writing a letter. It wasn't just a plea for advice. It was a letter full of hope and determination, a way to reach out and say, even a boy from a small town can dream of reaching the stars. It was a crisp autumn afternoon when Ryan was walking home from the library, balancing a stack of books in his arms. His backpack, old and patched in several places, sagged under the weight of his borrowed treasures. As he neared his street, he noticed a group of kids gathered around the corner, with Ella, the quiet girl from his class, standing in the middle. She was clutching a broken toy robot, its parts dangling in a sad, lifeless way. "Hey, look at this junk," one of the boys taunted, tossing the robot between his hands, laughing as Ella stood frozen, clearly on the verge of tears. Ryan felt a sharp pang of anger. He didn't know Ella very well, but he knew that the robot, no matter how damaged, clearly meant something to her. Without thinking, he called out, "Hey, leave her alone." The group turned to face him, their laughter dying in an instant. Ryan's heart raced, but he stood his ground. "It's not yours to mess with," he said firmly, taking a step toward the boys. "Give it back." The boys hesitated, glancing at each other. After a long, tense moment, one of them shoved the robot into Ryan's hands. "Whatever, we were done with it anyway," he muttered, and they all walked off. Ryan turned to Ella, who was still standing there, eyes wide with a mixture of relief and gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible, as she clutched the robot tightly to her chest. Ryan glanced down at the toy. The robot's wires were exposed, and its arms hung loosely. "It's okay," he said softly, smiling at her. "I think I can fix this for you." That evening, Ryan sat at his desk, the soft glow of his small lamp illuminating the space. With a few basic tools from his dad's garage and some spare parts he collected over the years, he worked well into the night. He replaced the broken wires, tightened the loose screws, and polished the surface until it gleamed. By the time he was done, the robot looked as good as new, its little lights blinking with life. The next morning at school, Ryan found Ella and handed her the robot. "Here you go," he said shyly. "It should work now." Ella's face lit up in a way Ryan hadn't seen before. "You fixed it." "Thank you so much, Ryan," she exclaimed, hugging the robot tightly to her chest. The simple joy on her face made Ryan's heart swell. It was a small moment, but it meant the world to both of them. News of Ryan's act of kindness spread quickly through the school. The boy who had once been teased for his patched-up backpack and his obsession with rockets was now admired for both his talent and his heart. Kids who had never spoken to him before started to approach him, complimenting him on his skills and offering their own stories of how they had felt like outcasts in one way or another. But for Ryan, the recognition didn't matter. The act of fixing the robot wasn't about getting credit. It was about doing the right thing, about seeing someone in need and stepping up to help. It was a moment where his belief that everyone deserved a chance, no matter who they were or where they came from, shone through. In his mind, if he could take something broken and make it work again, it was a step towards something bigger. It was about building things that mattered, things that could have an impact far beyond just one broken toy. That small act of kindness wasn't just about fixing a robot. It was a reflection of who Ryan was, someone who, even with little resources and plenty of challenges, was always ready to use what he had to make the world a better place. Looking back, Ryan would come to realize that this moment marked a turning point. It wasn't just a random act. It was a glimpse into the kind of person he wanted to be, and even though he didn't know it at the time, that small gesture would become part of a chain of events that would take him further than he ever imagined. A week had passed since Ryan fixed Ella's robot, and life had returned to its usual pace. He was back to tinkering with another small project in his room, his mind absorbed in the details of the work. But just when he least expected it, things took an unexpected turn. One afternoon, as he was working quietly, there was a knock at the door. Ryan's mom opened it, and standing there with a camera crew was Mrs. Carter, Ella's mom. She worked as a journalist for a local news outlet. "Hi, I'm Ella's mom," Mrs. Carter said, her smile warm and inviting. "I was hoping to talk to Ryan about something." Ryan peeked out from behind the door, confused. "Me?" he asked, unsure why anyone would be there for him. Mrs. Carter nodded, clearly excited. "Yes, you. I want to share your story, the kindness you showed Ella, your passion for rockets, and how you keep dreaming big even when life isn't easy. I think people need to hear it." Overwhelmed but intrigued, Ryan agreed to the interview. Soon, the camera crew had set up in their modest living room. Ryan found himself talking about his love for space, his dream of building rockets, and how he had taught himself everything by reading books from the library. The camera captured the humble space he worked in, a small desk cluttered with makeshift tools and half-built models of rockets. It was a true reflection of his dedication. That weekend, the story aired, and to Ryan's surprise, it didn't just stay local, it quickly spread online. People from all over the country shared the segment, and comments poured in, full of admiration. Viewers were moved by Ryan's determination, his love for space, and the kindness he had shown to Ella, even when he didn't have much to give. Then, one evening, as Ryan was helping his sister with her homework, his mother's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and froze. "Ryan, you need to see this." It was an email from Tesla and SpaceX headquarters. Ryan's hands trembled as his mom read the message aloud. "Dear Ryan, I came across the story about you fixing your classmate's robot and your passion for rockets. It reminded me of how I started, driven by curiosity and the desire to build something meaningful. I'd like to invite you to visit our SpaceX facility and meet the team. Keep dreaming big. It's people like you who change the world." The room fell silent as the reality of the message set in. Finally, Ryan's sister couldn't contain her excitement. "Ryan, you're going to SpaceX," she shrieked, jumping up and down in pure joy. Ryan, still in shock, stared at the screen. "Is this real?" he whispered, unable to believe that Elon Musk knew about him. The following days were a blur. Preparations for the trip came together quickly. His school held a small assembly to celebrate him, and even the classmates who had once teased him now looked at him with respect. Ryan marveled at how one small act of kindness had led to a series of life-changing events. The day of the visit arrived. Ryan, dressed in his best shirt and the only pair of formal shoes he owned, entered the SpaceX facility. The sight of the towering rockets and the buzzing energy of the place left him in awe. He was greeted warmly by engineers, technicians, and even Elon Musk himself, who shook Ryan's hand and said, "You remind me of myself at your age, always curious, always building." As Ryan toured the facility, he eagerly absorbed everything, asking questions and learning from the experts around him. This wasn't just a dream come true. It was the beginning of something much bigger. Before he left, Elon handed him a model rocket kit and said, "Stay in touch, Ryan. I have a feeling we'll be seeing each other again in the future." Back in his room that night, Ryan stared at the rocket kit on his desk. It wasn't just a toy. It was a symbol of everything that had led to this moment and everything that was yet to come. What had started with a simple act of fixing a broken toy robot had turned into a life-changing opportunity. Ryan knew deep down that this was just the beginning of something far bigger than he could ever have imagined. After returning from his visit to SpaceX, Ryan's life changed in ways he never imagined. The email from Elon Musk, followed by the tour of SpaceX, sparked a series of events that not only reshaped Ryan's future, but also affected everyone around him. News of Ryan's visit spread quickly, and soon local businesses, eager to support him, pooled their resources to sponsor his education. They provided him with the tools and materials he needed to fuel his passion for engineering. Even a nearby university offered him a scholarship to attend their summer science program for high school students, an opportunity that once seemed far out of reach. But the most significant change wasn't external. Ryan, who had always been a quiet, self-taught tinkerer, found a new sense of confidence. He no longer kept his ideas to himself. He knew now that his actions mattered, that his dreams were valid, and that he had the power to make a difference. At school, Ryan became a local celebrity. The same classmates who once teased him about his rocket obsession now looked to him for guidance. He started an after-school club for anyone interested in engineering, where he taught younger students how to build and program simple machines. What started as a small gathering soon became the most popular extracurricular activity in the school. Ryan's transformation extended beyond school. His mother, who had always worried about how to make ends meet, beamed with pride. She would often tell him, "This all started because you cared enough to help someone else." Ryan's sister, inspired by his journey, began to take her schoolwork more seriously. If Ryan can dream big and make it happen, she said to herself, why can't I? Then, Ryan received another surprise, a package from SpaceX. Inside was a letter from Elon Musk, along with a signed photo of the two of them standing in front of a Falcon 9 rocket. The letter read, "Ryan, your story reminded us all of why we do what we do. Keep building, keep learning, and remember, the sky is not the limit. We'll be cheering for you." Along with the letter was an invitation to participate in an international science fair, sponsored by SpaceX. Young inventors and engineers from around the world would showcase their work, and Ryan was invited to be part of it. Ryan could hardly believe it. For weeks, he poured all his energy into creating a project that could stand out. A low-cost rocket stabilization system made from parts salvaged from old electronics. At the science fair, Ryan's project caught the attention of prominent engineers and scientists. His innovation earned him first prize, and with it came multiple offers for internships and mentorships. The recognition was overwhelming, but Ryan remained grounded. He never forgot where he came from, always staying humble and focused on helping others. He continued fixing broken toys for kids in his neighborhood, sharing his love of engineering with anyone interested. He often said, "If one small act of kindness can change a life, imagine what 100 acts can do." Years later, after earning his degree in aerospace engineering, thanks to the scholarship funded by a community that believed in him, Ryan landed a job at SpaceX. On his first day, as he walked through the towering rockets and bustling labs, he thought back to the moment that started it all, a broken toy robot and a girl who just wanted her toy fixed. That night, after a long day at work, Ryan sat at his desk in his home workshop. He pulled out the model rocket kit that Elon Musk had given him years ago. As he carefully assembled the pieces, he reflected on how far he'd come and how many people had helped him along the way. When the rocket was ready, Ryan took it to a local park and launched it with a group of children from his old neighborhood. As the rocket soared into the sky, Ryan turned to the kids and said, "Dream big, work hard, and always help others along the way. You never know where it might lead." The children cheered as the rocket disappeared into the clouds, their faces lit with awe. For Ryan, watching them was a reminder of why he pursued his dreams, not just for himself, but to inspire others to reach for the stars. Ryan's journey isn't just about one boy's dreams coming true. It's a powerful reminder of how kindness, determination, and community can change lives. What started with a simple act, fixing a broken toy for a classmate, set off a chain of events that transformed not just Ryan's life, but also inspired countless others along the way. Ryan's story proves that even the smallest gestures can spark something much bigger. Sometimes the most significant change starts with one simple act of kindness. A moment of compassion can lead to unexpected opportunities, new connections, and even life-changing experiences. This is why Ryan's story matters. It shows us that helping someone, no matter how small or quiet the act seems, can create ripples that grow in ways we never imagined. You don't have to wait for a huge moment to make a difference. Every day is an opportunity to help someone else, and that could be the catalyst for something extraordinary. Now, I want to ask you, what's one small act of kindness you could do today? Maybe it's offering a hand to someone who needs help, sharing a kind word, or even listening when someone needs to talk. Think about how you could lift someone else up and support their dream. You never know how much it could mean to them, and how it could change your world too. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Share how you've been inspired by Ryan's journey or how you plan to make a difference. Your story could be the spark someone else needs to take action and start their own journey. Ryan's success didn't come overnight. It was built on passion, patience, and a willingness to dream big. He didn't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect tools. He started where he was, with what he had, and took that first small step. And look where it led him. If Ryan can turn his love for tinkering into a career at SpaceX, there's no telling what you can achieve with the same dedication and support. What's holding you back from taking that first step? Let this story remind you that the journey to your dreams often begins with one simple action. If Ryan's story touched you, let us know in the comments how it inspired you. Maybe it sparked a new dream you want to pursue or gave you the courage to help someone else. Your words can inspire others to take action too. And don't forget to share this story with friends who might need that extra push. Like this post, subscribe to our channel, and let's create a community that celebrates kindness, perseverance, and the incredible power of human connection. One small act of kindness at a time. Together, we can make a world of difference. So what's your next move? Let's inspire each other and keep reaching for the stars.